Hello, happy people. Welcome to the very first episode of my new book review series I'm doing on YouTube called A Ginger and a Book. So, in these videos, I'll just be doing semi-short reviews of books that I've read over quarantine or before. Reading really got me through the last year, being cooped up, dealing with death in the family. I felt a healthy way to let my mind escape everything that was happening. So I thought I could just do something with that. I'm getting a little stir crazy this stage of the quarantine. So I just want to share my love of books for you or with you. And I hope you enjoy the same types of literature I read. I tend to stick more to young adult, fantasy, young adult fiction. I am all about dystopians, but I will try to branch out a little bit more. And if you have any requests for books I should read, or if you've read anything that you think I would enjoy, I have a cat trying to climb up here with me. Please leave that in the comment section. I will put a link to the book that I'm reviewing each time. Also a link to my book, The Stone Doorway, which is available on Amazon. I have another book in the editing process right now, and I hope that comes out later this year. So anyway, so the first book I'm going to review for you guys is a book, my most recently read book, which is, and forgive my beat up copy, The Passage by Justin Cronin. Again, link will be in the description. So this book is really good. It is very dense. It's a big book. It has very small font. It packs a lot of information into, not a huge book, but it read like 3 separate books because there are different sections in the book and big time jumps. This story is a wild, wild ride. It is so detailed, and there are moments where I was reading and I had to set it down and walk away. I needed a break because it was getting too stressful. There are a lot of main characters throughout the book, but the central character, I would say, of the story is a little girl named Amy. And I have 2 little girls, and some of the situations in which Cronin puts Amy is, as a mom and as an educator, so stressful. So I really had to, sometimes take a break, walk away, woosah a little bit, and then I could come back to it. But it was such a good book. It is a dystopian novel, but not like one I've ever read. It spans decades and centuries. It's amazing. And all these people, a lot of he introduces a lot of people throughout, a lot of characters throughout the book by giving them their own chapter, their own point of view. And as you're reading it, you're like, oh my God, who's this now? I'm already so stressed, and now you're giving me more people to worry about. And it's not till the very end of the book that you see how they all fit together, and it's so good. This is part of a trilogy. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep reading it because the way this book ended, I was so happy, and I almost need to take a break from Cronin because he really does have a way of sucking you in, and it's almost stressful. So at certain times, and I can tell the other books, I have no idea where these other books are going. I have no idea because this book takes so many twists and turns, that you don't really know what you're going for, what's going to happen next, I guess is what I should say. I would say this book, and I'm sure the publisher has this information out there, this book would probably be okay for, I would say, 14 and up, depending on the maturity level. There's no sex, but there is a lot of violence, and there is a lot of death, and there are moments of intense peril with children, babies, elderly, nuns, you name it. They are put in perilous situations in this book. My one critique, I would say, and it's not even a bad thing, is that Cronin is like a magician when it comes to maximizing the use of how much he can put in a sentence. He must have some of his sentences tend to be a little long-winded, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It was almost distracting for me because I am the queen of compound sentences and run-on sentences and any other grammatical error you can make. But Cronin, it's like he's gifted. he writes these amazing sentences, and there's there was one that was a paragraph long, and it was just one sentence, and I'm like, that's amazing. That is my only critique. It was distracting for me, but other readers may not even notice it. The characters are vivid. The timeline is crazy, but it's so good. It works so well. The story, like I said, is fairly violent. There is a lot of blood. There is a lot of suspense. There is a lot of cliffhanger moments where you don't know who's going to live and who's going to die. And sometimes it's your favorite character, and it's very sad. But I really enjoyed this book. I would give it, out of 5 ginger snaps, I'll give it a 5. I don't know if that's going to become a thing. I don't know. But this, I would recommend Justin Cronin for anyone who's into dystopian novels, young adult fantasy even. I would venture you could go that far. There is a dystopian event. I don't want to give anything away. It's not your typical zombie apocalyptic nightmare, but there are monstrous vibes to it. And like I said, I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to give any spoilers. But it is a very good book, and I highly recommend it. The link will be in the description. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of A Ginger and a Book. And please check the description and check back every week for a new video. If you have any suggestions of books you'd like me to review, please leave them in the comment section. Bye, guys.